everyone. You guys having fun? Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna slow it down. I just want to say a bit about myself. Are you guys okay? You know, just tell you a bit about myself. So I'm Atanuka. Hi. And I became a born-again Christian last year, October. And it's been great. But I'll tell you a bit about my life before. So when I got saved, it was very different from a lot of other people. So I was sitting down somewhere there, and Pastor was preaching about deception, and he was saying a lot of things, but the only thing that stood out to me was sometimes you think people are doing things to you, and it's not them, it's the spirit behind what they're saying. And, I was just there, filled with bitterness, because me and my father, we had a very, long relationship that just didn't work out, and, a lot of negative words spoken over my life, and I couldn't get over it. I couldn't get over why my family couldn't just, be there for me the way families were meant to be there for people, how there was always feuding, how my parents never got along and they had to separate, and how I was angry at myself because I just wasn't ever good enough for anything I was doing. I was always that person who was always one grade away or one mistake away, or I always forget something, and it's like, I always saw my own insufficiency. And at that moment, it's like for the first time in my life, God showed me that I don't really need to look at myself. I just need to look at how good He is to me. And I got home, and God made me write this list. I'm not going to read it to you. But this list of everyone that ever offended me, my family, it's a 6-page long. And oh yeah, I was, you can imagine how angry I was. I was like, yeah, God, I'll show you. But anyway, and I wrote all these things, and I was thinking to myself, it took me 3 days of crying, 3 days of weeping, 3 days of just being for the first time I had to be open, because even though I had friends, I had people around me, I had people like my mom who cared about me, no one really ever asked me how I felt about anything that was going on. No one was ever really, no one ever really gave me Christ, okay, I know you have this problem. People would just say sorry and, oh, I feel bad for you, but then no one ever gave me a solution that seemed to stick. And so I finished writing this down, and I was sitting there at my table. It was a Thursday morning, and I was just thinking to myself, and I was like, okay, God, here's everything that's ever offended me. Here's everything I've been carrying since I was 12 years old, and my dad told me that I'll regret my life in 20 years. Here's everything, all my burdens. Okay, what do I do with it? And He just lay it down. And I think Christianity is crazy because it's the only place where surrender brings liberation. Every other place, when you surrender, you're going into imprisonment, but this is like liberation. And as I was praying, I just started saying this poem, and I put up my phone and I started recording, and this is the first poem I ever wrote when I was saved, so I'm gonna say it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And who am I that you are mindful of me? That I could be held down by years of anger, yet you stretched out your hands towards me to catch my tears and set me free. Who am I that God is mindful of me? That I could be a standing house of Rahab when all the walls of Jericho around me were falling. Yet I was a house that left His presence homelessly hovering around, in need of dissecting this hurt that was my dubious canopy. Who am I to hurt deeper when I didn't face crucifixion? Still, I left my pacemaker to be in sync with the chaos of my mind. Childlike heartbeat to a selfish earthly father cried, why won't you love me? While God waited outside knocking to be my eyes, a blind woman's guide. Who am I? That the Lord looks at me with the love of a father, saying I am fearfully and wonderfully made, yet through fear I lived, unaware of the wonders within, in need of detoxing this destruction. Who am I that God can say, come to me and I will give you rest? So I left my thoughts to wander till I was lost in bewilderness and landed at a door at the corner of distress where anger and uncertainty, His wife, unleashed their hounds of doubt to inflict their soul-chaining bites. Who am I? That the Lord lay His hands on my feeble, failing flesh and replayed the resurrection in me, that I was falling from a mountain peak and He invaded my terror with His wings. And the stones spat sticks and stones at my boat, but your words became my sail. As I called on your name, you came to save me, even though I wasn't even saved yet. Who am I to be a prisoner in a broken mind? Always sitting down wondering why. Why? What if? When your word said be anxious about nothing. But with prayer and petition to prosper, I'm pulled by your promise. So if anything, my pondering heart should pause to praise you. Praise you as you wish I served you unending me. As you wish I loved you with my heart delivered, yet my wellspring was held captive as I let faithless chains limit your abilities and slap duct tape on the lips that voiced out that your grace is sufficient enough for me. Who am I to say I hate? When those words left me handcuffed outside heaven's gate, enslaved by pride that the life I lived was less than the king-like one I deserved, I failed to see the chessboard below my feet, several moves away from the mystery of his mercy. And who am I to be a slave? I try my best to sleep at night, but those nightmares left me afraid. But I love God, but there is no fear in love, and I serve a perfect God, made perfect in love, so I was a liar. I feared perfect love. Yet your love still chased me as I walked up the hill of rejection, down the road of regret and round in circles until I was dissatisfied by my insufficiency. Your perfect love left me asking, who am I to look at my life and sigh? Instead of giving a shout for joy, left in reverence of the effortless nature of his glory. How did you renew my mind that I no longer conform to the pattern of this world, regardless of the fact that I have been hard-pressed by walls, walls on each side, walls with thorns, yet I emerge uncrushed, lacking despair, shouting for joy because I host a wonder that cannot be destroyed. And your fountain, your spirit was the key. And a fountain of all of you poured in and out from me when I opened the floodgates of my heart to overflow me with an invitation for a residence known as Jesus Christ. And as the waters rose to my lips, I heard my tongue audibly paint the words, I forgive. Withholding nothing, I let the pain flow away and the rivers left, leaving my soul refreshed, and new waters flooded my mouth with praise and my heart with transcendent rest. Here I am, walking through fire in the valley of the shadow of death, and like a child following my father, I will follow my Lord as I was led to forgiveness. And here I am, forgiven. So who am I that you are mindful of me? Who am I, Lord? Who am I?